Hello, everybody. Hello. Distinguished judges, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to our 2017 presentation of Speech Mavens. This is Franco West's third annual competition, and we are extremely thankful to have all of you here with us this evening. Without you guys here, this evening would not take place, clearly. This year's catchphrase for our contest is, now more than ever, speech matters. Although we do not always realize it, our words can have a tremendous impact on others. Whether it be with friends or colleagues, an international or intimate stage, our words have the power to drive success and also drive failure. Today we have the distinct pleasure of showcasing some of the school's most talented and passionate speakers, from grade 7 all the way to grade 12. Without a doubt, they'll be the positive leaders who will drive the generations of the future, hopefully. This is part of what Speech Mavens is really about, enabling students to have their voice heard while perfecting the art of public speaking. In a few moments, you'll hear presentations from students from each grade level. Some have chosen to express themselves through spoken word. Others have narratives. Others have poetic or persuasive forms. They'll tell you guys which one it is as they walk up here with their name. Before we do this, a little housekeeping stuff. If you want to use your cell phone to film, that's cool. If you want to use your cell phone to answer a Skype call in the middle of one of the presentations, that's not cool. So just choose your cell phone use appropriately. Also, the cups we have at the back are compostable. I know that's weird. But so if you use them, don't throw them out. Just put them on the back somewhere and we'll come find them. And I'll tell my friend Carl to compost them because he knows how to do that. Before we begin also, I have the privilege of introducing our three judges who are in the back. They have a great spot to see everything. Marie-Pierre Dembers, who teaches in 7-8. Daryl Langlois, on the other side, who teaches English, French, history, and also is the IB coordinator. He's an important man. And also Eric Pilon, who's also a 7-8 teacher, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff, so very good. So, without further ado, we'll start this off with the 7s and 8s. So, let us begin.
My name is Cyrus Babcock, and I'm doing poetry. Our generation is a happy melancholy. We need help, but our pride mutes our pleas. The heart of millennials drowned in technology. Pixels lead our lives, which exists on our screens. Our lives are artificial and full of lies. In our eyes, there is no sparkle. We feed on attention and watch in silence. We have no voice, but we do have a choice. The outside world is but a myth, and we can't bust it because it is real. Tilt your head up 90 degrees and look at the beauty of life around. If not, tap away. Tap, 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 until your life goes right by. Thank you.
My name is Zoe DeMorris, and I'll be doing poetry. Our generation. Our generation is being accused of a mountain of things. That mountain just smiles at us. I'm offended of what people think. They say that we're lazy and selfish, but that's not all true. Yes, some may think that they're the best and don't care about others, but that doesn't mean that we're all the same. Personally, I come from a different culture. My culture's values do not fit our generation's description. Some of the most important values that I've learned while growing up were to be respectful, kind, to succeed, and that family is the most important of all. So let's stop accusing people of what they're doing because it's not fair. I'm here today to defend the people of our generation because no one should be accused of things that aren't true. I hope that over the years that mountain will soon fade away. Thank you for listening.
My name is Emma Crosby, and I'm doing poetry. The children are selfish, they say. Crack. They don't see that the world is being chipped away. They say tomorrow is another day, but if we keep waiting, the world will be a non-existing prey. The children are lazy, they say. The millennials have rung the bell already, and who's going to accept responsibility? Us builders must be the difference. It's our time to make a change, to last beyond these years of ignorance. Climate change. It's the new, gruesome problem in our world. It's such a big craze. Everybody just twirls. Terrifying, troubled, taunted truth tells the troubles. Let's work together to help our very polluted land which we live on before it's gone. And remember that we are builders. We stand tall, and we will fix this all.
Hello, my name is Sara Mihailescu. I will be doing poetry, and my poem is called Our Broken World. What is life? Can we call our generation live? Slavery, addiction, disastrous toxic substances. Are we capable of doing anything with our own two arms anymore? That little valley with the stunning green grass that invited all the kids to run around at is now not so little and not so green because we killed it. We built a monstrous elevation of waste that invites rats to scamper around at. Click, that ceaseless sound. It besieges us everywhere we go. The only muscles strengthened nowadays are the ones in our fingers. Electronics, as addicting as drugs. Kids stay on them daily. They're addicts. Repeating the same activity, looking into glaring screens. Getting attached, becoming part of the apparatus. Kids stay and watch, play videos, having servants bring them food, doing all the work, all the cleaning and washing. Still, they ask for more and more. Don't get what they demand for? Shoot off into unwanted tantrum. Yelling, screaming, not accepting what is given. Parents give up and serve as will please. A while ago, kids did work too, and some still do. They got their food and made it too. They cleaned and washed, splished and sploshed. But every day now, more and more of these broken, brainwashed bodies are approaching us.
Hello everybody, my name is Justin Bajani and today I'll be doing poetry. It's our time. Our parents will hear click and tap from the devices on our lap. We might be greedy, but we always do care. Neither of us know what we can accomplish, and a waste of time is doing things we should not do. Our phones harmless, but they sure do get addictive. Even if your parents don't get mad, you should try to be a little more active. We are builders. We need to be productive. Don't be as lazy as a pig or it will get obsessive. Life's a pulse. It is steady and unstoppable. You think it doesn't matter and whoop, now it's past. We are builders. Soon our time to stand. We need to be productive. Now, go build things in sand. Thank you for listening.
My name's Ewan Griffin. I'll be doing poetry and my title is called The Destruction, Our Mending. The development of our ancestors brought forth many devastations. They were wasters controlled by investors and went on with pollution in our nations. Humans as hungry animals went out with warfare, killing each other like their lives never really mattered. Great losses happened, no different by compare. They never saw the truth, for all were unprepared. The trees beg with mercy, for some have no respect. We must all save humanity, for all we must protect. Man made many mistakes that our generation must mend. No matter the stakes, to all we must end. Now it is our time to grasp reality, to get off our dumb, dinging devices, to change the course of history, no matter the sacrifices. Our duties are grand, so this we must not deny, dismiss, or decline, or we will lose our land. Until this is done, we must hope and fall in line.
name is Andre Marion, and I'm doing poetry. It is titled Our Generation. Our generation is misunderstood. You all probably think it's all about computers, fidget spinners, and another electric doodad. But that's not true. We have passion, dreams, and ideas, more than you could probably count even at that. But then, when we least expect it, we get stopped right in our tracks, right when we think we're safe, by electricity, screens, and guess what? Even wires. You judge us like there's no tomorrow, but there is. You say that our generation is the future, so all of you, accept it. Yep. So all of you, accept it. Accept the past and the present. And also think about the future. Us. Think about the future generations. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dylan Stangl, and I'll be doing poetry. The candle that breathes, 4 seasons of the year, without disturbances. A wind dazzles the candle, it has only hidden. As always, she begins to cry, without friends and without courage, like a fish without shore. No doubt she'll burn herself out, the wind always brings more. Without a single care in the world, a drop of gas drops onto the flame, igniting a huge explosion of courage and care. The more she grows, the less the wind blows. Strong and beautiful, the flame roars. King of the jungle, the wind is no more. Once defeated and merely greeted, an uneasy breeze was thoroughly beaten. Until its last breath, a bit of chaos was all he needed. Nowadays, the candle melts as she gets hit with mortar shells. Once again, courage needed to ignite what is truly beneath your humanity continually beaten. From New York to Mosul, from Paris to Ottawa, Turkey to Lebanon, or Germany to Italy, the flame is dying. Slowly he creeps back from the depths he was surely at peace. But we've awoken a terrible beast that will no doubt start to feast. From Abul to Muhammad, from Khalid to Michael, even Abdulhamid to Al-Shabaab, terrorism knows no name, no faith, no love, no faith, no care, and no humanity. We need a bit of gas to ignite our flames, not to stand by and be ashamed of what people have done and what people will do, and of the differences separating me from you. Thank you.
Those were the 7s and 8s. Now we have the 9s and 10s.
Okay, so I'm Evan Marf, and my speech is about the Electoral College, which is the voting system of the United States, in case any of you weren't aware. Okay, so 1,337 days. That is how many days are left until Trump leaves office. Now, I think my favorite part about that statistic is that I found it on a website completely dedicated to it, with the beautiful name of www.howlongtilltrumpleaves.com. Now, I'm sure me informing you of the statistic isn't enlightening you to the world that Trump is not a popular politician. There are many reasons for this, one being his eternally scrutinized policy, the fact that he pretty much equates to a human cornucopia of discrimination, and that his ego is about as discreet as his toupee. Oh, burn! Is this the War of 1812? Because I just set the White House on fire. Okay, I'll stop. Now, another reason adding to his unpopularity is how he came into office in the first place, winning against the popular vote, which is just a pure tally from what the citizens voted, due to the Electoral College. Now, this generated a lot of anger from, for lack of a better term, the left. The infamous "he's not our president" chants, which pretty much accomplished nothing, and very, very little critique of the system which generated the result. So, the Electoral College is just a horrible system. Let's get out of the way. It's unrepresentative, outdated, and there are a lot of better systems that could be used instead. But to understand these allegations I just gave it, you have to understand the system instead. So pretty much how it works is that every state has a certain amount of votes that they give to a candidate. The candidate with the most votes wins. I'll call those state votes, just to clarify, because there's another type of vote that comes in later. Now, to determine how these state votes are given away, each state has their own little mini-election where the citizens vote, since they're called citizen votes, and they tally up the results. Now, the party that got the most citizen votes, they give all the state votes of that state to that party. Okay, I said votes a lot of time. I hope that was clear. Okay, so now, this creates three main problems. One, there are unequal votes. Now, pretty much, what this means is that people in Wyoming actually have 3 times more power in their votes than people in California. And this is due because the number of state votes that a state has isn't always directly proportionate to the number of people in that state. That one's pretty obvious why that's a bad thing, so I can just move on to unequal votes, which is another problem with the Electoral College. Now, by unrepresented minorities, I'm not talking about anything to do with visible minorities. I'm talking about political minorities in a state. So now, U.S. political analysts have the terms red states and blue states, and those refer to states with more Republican voters or Democratic voters, respectively. So now, the problem with the winner-take-all of the state vote system is that any political minority gets completely ignored in the state. So, if you have a state like Texas, where there's a lot of Republicans, all the Democrats in that state are completely ignored and they have no voice. And now finally, this also creates something called swing states. Swing states are states that have roughly a 50-50 amount of each type of voter. And those states are pivotal because they elect them because what if we just seen, pretty much all the other states are set where you're going to get those votes from. Now the swing states, you have to really appeal to them because they're the ones who can actually change. Now, most of those swing states are Ohio, Virginia, and Florida. So I know this is a bit of an exaggeration, but the U.S. isn't really electing the president. Ohio, Virginia, and Florida are. Okay, now, I've complained a lot about the Electoral College, and to complain and not really suggest anything is just moaning, so suggest a solution I shall. In an ideal world, I would just completely scrap the Electoral College and make up a new system, but that is obviously way too much work for the sloths that we call congressmen to do, so I have a more realistic solution which keeps a lot of what's intact, but drastically improves the representation of the system. And that is simply making it so that the state votes given from each state is representative to the votes of the citizens. Now what I mean in this, say there's a state that had 10 votes to give, and the ballots came in, and it was 60% Democrat, 40% Republican. That means that 6 of those votes would go to the Democratic candidate, and 4 would go to the Republican candidate. Now, this doesn't fix unequal votes, but it does represent minorities, and it makes it so that swing states pretty much just give 50-50 each and are completely inconsequential, which I think represents Ohio as a state very well. Okay, that's about it with the Electoral College. There's not really much more except for, the fact that actually all the state votes can be completely changed in December, but that is a story for another time.
It's taped. Can I take off the tape? Okay. Hi, my name is Carolina Mu, and I will be presenting a speech. What if I asked you the following? Name 3 scientists. Think about it for a moment. Now, if I asked you to name 3 female scientists, would you be able to answer? Why is it that when we think of famous role models, they are most often men? In fact, the only big difference between men and women is a 2-letter prefix. You may be asking, do we really still need feminism anymore? We do indeed have equal rights. Also, thanks to our current Prime Minister, our cabinet is gender balanced. In addition, Canada has finally decided to incorporate the first woman other than the Queen on Canadian currency. This all shows immense progress and determination, but it doesn't mean that we are treated equally. So why do we still need feminism? Because at school, we are body shamed and forced to cover up our bodies instead of teaching boys to be respectful. Because women must worry about walking home alone. Because young girls just simply need more female role models to look up to. In fact, globally, women do 2/3 of the labor, yet only get 10% of the income and own 1% of the property. As Letty Coden Pogrebin once said, when men are oppressed, it's a tragedy. When women are oppressed, it's tradition. But feminism, what does it really mean?
Many will try to avoid what seems like a tense and awkward topic. But shouldn't we be talking about it? In fact, feminism is simply the belief that women are and should be treated as potential intellectual and social equals to men. Many of us consider ourselves feminists. We believe people are equal no matter our gender. You can talk the talk, but can you really walk the walk? Next time anyone makes a hurtful or demeaning comment towards women, stand up and speak out. So, as women and girls, we shouldn't feel limited to certain jobs or certain subjects because of our gender. We shouldn't feel the need to live up to society's body image and beauty standards. We shouldn't feel the need to wear makeup to cover up our blemishes and natural beauty. You are beautiful, no matter what they tell you. You can do whatever you want to do. You can become whoever you want to be. Don't let a 2-letter prefix change that. Thank you.
My name is Katya Prudnova. Norman Vincent Peale, a motivational speaker and author, once said, "You can if you think you can." Throughout your life, you are constantly defeated by everyday problems, whether it's spilling a drink on your brand new shirt, slow Wi-Fi, or stepping on gum. These problems are unavoidable, but it's your response to these everyday obstacles that determines who you are. The thing is, your brain is programmed to shut out the outside world and let in the negative emotions of fear, anger, and stress, preventing you from seeing the other options that surround you. However, there is a solution. It's called positivity. Such a beautiful word, filled with hope, happiness, and endless possibilities. I believe that once you plant this word in your mind and in your soul, you are able to achieve and create anything and everything. With positivity, you are unstoppable. Still don't believe me? Well, it is scientifically proven that positive people have a greater chance at succeeding in life, as opposed to someone who's negative most of the time. Positive people tend to be more happy, healthy, and relaxed. They tend to be more motivated towards achieving their goals. By having a more positive mindset, you are already one step towards leading a richer and longer life. Positivity is like a ripple effect. Once you drop a positive idea or thought in the pond of the world, you have to realize that you are not only creating a cascade of change for yourself, but for all of humanity. There is so much beauty in this world, maybe enough to shut out the darkness and negativity that surrounds us. Imagine the infinite stars on a warm summer night near the ocean, the wind embracing your face, or a child's first laugh. There are so many reasons to smile and just be positive. Life keeps going, like a waterfall rushing at full speed towards the river. And before you know it, you're wrinkly and old, and that's when you think, why was I so negative at times when I could have been a better version of myself by having a more positive mindset? You don't have time for negativity in your life, so choose the road to positivity. And the next time you say that you're going to fail a test or project, I want you to take that word fail, crumple it up, and throw it far away from you, and then replace it by I'm going to ace that test. Because never forget, you can if you think you can.
Hey guys, I'm Edgar Hernandez, and my title is frankly long, so bear with me. It's the effect that the media has on our point of view of situations in other overseas countries. Yeah, quite a mouthful. Just to begin, I would like to say that all those speeches were personally great. So can we get a round of applause, please? I can't hear you louder. That's good. It's good. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, my speech is actually pretty depressing. So. Before I begin, just a little disclaimer. If I start quoting statistics or comparing to other statistics, this causes great sadness in my heart, but it's for the sake of a speech. So I'm sorry if so nobody gets offended. Like it or not, the media controls a lot of our perception of the world today. And in our society, sadly, not everyone is equal. Take, for example, the Manchester attacks. Although the events that took place there are without a doubt a senseless tragedy committed by a deranged madman, hundreds of thousands of people have been dying in Syria from other attacks and shootings since 2011. Now, most of you have not heard about every individual attack in countries like Iraq. Why do you think that is? Is it because we don't care about what's going on in those countries? Is it because the media just simply doesn't tell us about it? Or is it because we, as people from a first world country, see ourselves as superior? If you guessed any of those, very sadly, you are correct. Now, the sad truth when it comes to the subject is that nobody actually gives a damn when it comes to killings and destruction in countries that are in development. Now, most of the violence is not shown by news network, who instead opt to concentrate on news, like the latest barrage of Donald Trump's tweets calling some political figure or celebrity dumb or illiterate, you know? To illustrate my point, let me ask you all, just as a show of hands, who here has heard of the Karada bombings in Afghanistan? Show of hands. Not a single person. Now, who here has heard of the Paris attacks? Show of hands. Literally everyone. The former killed 341 people. That is almost that is more than 2 times as much as the Paris attacks, 137, if anyone's wondering. And most of you have never, and all of you have never even heard it mentioned until now. This just reinforces the message that I'm trying to transmit to you. We just are simply blind to other situations that cause great grief and sadness to other people. This exact type of blissful ignorance was dissected and portrayed in George Orwell's masterpiece, 1984. For crying out loud, the slogan of Big Brother was, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength." Another one of the reasons why many of you haven't heard of the atrocities going on in several overseas countries is because the life of a person living in a first world country is, in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of society, is worth more than the life of someone living in a third world country. Now, that is going to sound really cold and maybe even racist to some of you. And as humans, as we don't want to admit it because ethically it's wrong. And it is, but it's the sad truth. This is due to because in the eyes of society, a person living in a first world country, someone who is born in privilege, someone who's born lucky, let's call it, has more potential to give back to society through the offering of higher end jobs in a more thorough education, for saying going to college or university. That is not saying that an immigrant does not have the potential to give back to society. My parents and I, we immigrated from Mexico to here almost 12 years ago. There they are, if anyone's wondering. This has resulted in this in turn has resulted in a higher sensitivity to killings and maimings against people in more privileged nations. As a result, this has resulted in desensitization, of us towards other countries who do not happen to be as rich or as lucky. In conclusion, most of us simply opt to block out the real carnage that goes on in less fortunate nations elsewhere. This has led to a very real ignorance to the ongoing situations that haunt these once peaceful nations today. Thank you.
Hi, and my name is Philip Doucet, and I'll be presenting a spoken word called Space. I held my newborn cousin in my arms today, and for a moment I felt big. Probably because even though there were only 15 years separating us both, I was able to fit him along the length of my forearm, and so for a moment I felt big. But I took a walk downtown, and all of a sudden I felt small. Probably because of the vastness of the place, an inescapable concrete jungle in which I was but a tiny creature. And so for a moment my city felt big. But then this summer I visited Ontario, and all of a sudden my city felt small. Probably because of the endless forest, rivers, and lakes, yours to discover. I swam, ran, and laughed from end to end, from north to south, from east to west. And so for a moment my province felt big. But then I took a plane to the other end of Canada, and all of a sudden, my province felt small. Probably because of the seemingly endless horizon, a mare usque and mare, from sea to sea. And trust me, there is a lot between those two seas. And so, for a moment, my country felt big. But then I looked at the sunrise, and all of a sudden, my country felt small. Probably because that huge furnace that gives us life and we call the sun is 150 million kilometers away from us and 1,000,000 times the size of our Earth. Probably because the Earth is just the 5th biggest planet in our system, and so for a moment, my solar system felt big. But then I looked up to the stars, and all of a sudden, everything felt so small. Probably because this black canvas with little white polka dots of light is, to put it simply, so very big. Probably because space, as we know it, is mostly that, empty space. And the emptiness is quite literally infinite. I'm standing here trying to find the words to help you picture how huge this universe really is, but I can't. No words can describe it, no image can depict it, no thought can grasp it. If the universe is a sandbox, we aren't even big enough to be grains of sand because we are unimaginably small. And so, for a moment, my universe felt big. And then I looked back at me and asked myself, how could I possibly measure up to this? How could we measure up to this? While I can't tell you how to be big for the universe, I can tell you how to be big for yourself, because you are made up of stardust. You are made up of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and other compounds that have all come from those stars above. So when you look out into the empty sky and spot those little white polka dots, remember that they are a part of you just as much as you are a part of them. Remember that as much as you might not be big enough to be seen, you can be loud enough to be heard, and you are important enough to have the heart of stars within you. So go ahead. Ace that test. Get that dream job. Be happy. And like the universe inside of you, be big. Thank you.
So I am Daphne Dillman, and I'm going to be presenting you a poetry slam that I wrote. And the title of it is A Love Letter from Anxiety. And just a small fair warning, there is a bit of scandalous language in it, but don't try to misinterpret it. It's all in part of the characterization of the speech. Dear lover, don't you remember the first time that we crossed paths? It was back in 2nd grade, where you forgot your school project and cried your heart out onto that poster board, and I felt pity for you. I was there to help you, understand? Good, very good, that you didn't brush me off. Look at where you are now. Don't you feel proud? I mean, you should be. You've done so much ever since I've come along. I've helped you hold up a pencil, and now you'll never let it go, but that's okay, because I'll erase all the mistakes for you. I love it when we hold our hands of creation and destruction together so tightly. The feeling of the sweat in your palms, the dryness of your kisses, the shallowness of your breath when you try to speak up. Come on, I dare you. I dare you to speak up, and yet you say nothing. And when people start to question, I'll erase all of the wrong answers you have, and all it seems that you'd like to say now is, I'm fine. Don't you feel a bit bland without this buzz that I give you, this buzz in your brain, the running through your neurons, the shaking in your body, choking at your throat, without this dance I made for you? It seems like you're a bit lackluster, lackadaisical, lack of a better term to explain the lack and thought of care you have about me. Don't you remember the old times? We used to stay up late. You could call it a sleepover in a way. Some nights I'd just sit next to you and help you do all those unnecessarily important tasks. But others, we would make love in your thoughts, marrying the pure innocence of your sheets of paper with my ink, tainting you as my own mind. You see, darling, I have this responsibility to never pollute your image. And so, while you grip tightly onto that pencil of yours, I can take care of writing what you'd like to say in a much bolder way, in a much more cleaner way, in a much more appreciated way with my pen. Because when was the last time someone appreciated you aside from me, sweetheart? You look a bit anxious as you sit in that chair and have your leg bounce at the feeling my hand on it, as you bite your lip just the way I like it, just until your lip starts to bleed that taste of copper. I know you're scared. But just think this through. Don't you want me to stay? Stay by your side? I promise to protect you from all of those bad people, all of those lies that haunt you in your sleep. We can sleep together peacefully once again. Don't you miss me? Miss these sweet nothings that tingle in your ears, to your hands, through your lungs? I love you, dear. So why do you want to let me go? Don't you feel lost or lonely or feel desperate without me? Hush now, darling. I'm here, and I'll hold you, pull you in tight as to never let you go. I'll keep you safe, safe with this mask. It'll hide everything you hate about yourself, everything that I see and try to help you hide. Please, darling, that smile of yours was hand-painted. Who broke it? I assume that doesn't matter now. You've already left me. But, lover, you will miss me. Oh, you will. I'll move back in and fix you up, because it looks to me that someone made your pencil blunt. And that poisonous lead of yours will soon snap without me.
Hi, my name is Mira, and today I'm going to be saying a poetry slam called Dear Best Friend. Dear best friend, let me tell you a little something about loneliness. Loneliness, what is it? Loneliness is a complex and unusually unpleasant emotional response to isolation. Loneliness typically includes anxious feelings about a lack of connection and communication with other beings. It could be felt even when surrounded by other people. The causes of loneliness vary and include social, mental, emotional, and even physical factors. Now, this is my kind of loneliness. My smile hides my tears. My laugh, it hides my screams. It's been this way forever. I seem so happy with not a care in the world. But you should know, many things go untold. Nobody really knows me. They only know my cover. But I wish people can see. I wish I can let them see what's really inside. But again, there's nothing to say, nothing they can really do. What's wrong? You need help? That's all they'll ask. They don't know that every day I suffer over and over and over again. I come back home laying in my bed staring at a ceiling for over an hour, doing nothing. I waste time thinking, I waste time pacing, I waste time being quiet because I'm afraid to say something and stutter. But again, nothing matters. Asking me to hide my emotions is like asking someone to hide a gashing wound when the gash won't close and the blood won't clot. Easier said than done, right? Coming from someone who can't actually see the pain or feel it, or even clean up the mess or watch the gore. Now, depression runs through my head. These thoughts make me think of death, a darkness which blanks my mind. It bleeds as they do. A cold razor touching my pale, smooth skin and breaking it. Pooling blood like a volcano slowly erupting. Red and brown stain my pale, smooth skin. Now, the pain of my scars reflect the pain of my heart. I'm on the verge of falling off a 2,000-foot cliff. I'm hanging on by one single thread. Things have no meaning anymore. A part of me is missing. I hang my head low and take one final bow. Before I step off the edge, I have something to say. Most of you tried and cared, but clearly not enough. This is me giving up. This is one last goodbye.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'll be presenting to you guys a rant. So I'm going to start it off with a question. Who here is a feminist? Does everyone know what feminism means? Many people mistake feminism as an excuse for women to feel superior, which is completely wrong, by the way. Feminism is the public support of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. In today's society, we are doing a pretty good job of promoting feminism. Prime Minister Trudeau's advocacy of bringing equality into the workspace of the government is a great example of how our society is developing and how women's role in it is improving. So many famous male and even female singers sing songs lowering women's decency and dignity. Most of these songs are listened to by teenagers like myself and other people here, and we don't always realize how sexist and disrespectful they are. The Weeknd, Jason Derulo, and Nicki Minaj are only a few examples of artists who have come out with songs where the lyrics are just plain sexist. It is so ironic how our society is the most feminist that it has been in history, yet all these famous singers and rappers teens listen to nowadays all talk about women as sex objects and accessories. Already in our generation, we can see how this influences how women are portrayed. Physical aspects, like so many songs explain, are so important now. Like I said before, women are described the same way we would describe an object, judging the outside characteristics only. Frankly, there's no need for all these sexist remarks. Artists can still make plenty of money singing songs without having to bash women in the process. These singers and rappers might not want to make our younger generations grow up to these messages, and they might not mean what they're saying. But at the end of the day, the lyrics are still being heard, resulting in an erosion of the progress we have made this far in feminism. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maya Sabane, and today I'll be presenting a spoken word poem. How to Change the World. I have been thinking a lot lately about something strange, about religions, conflicts, destruction, and climate change. I've never taken a hard look at the world we live in, but I'm aware that it isn't the biggest win. Why is it that no one ever thinks about the consequences? Why is it that everyone just wants to cause offenses? No one takes the time to care for another. All we wish for is that the enemies suffer. This world contains too many issues, too many terrible conditions, and bad politicians. Is it too late to fix our world? Maybe we just need to pray and have more hope. Maybe that's what we need to repair our globe. But if someday I could make a change, I would make sure to arrange food for Africa, justice for America, terror out of the Middle East, and maybe the war would be decreased. I would throw away the hatred, spread only love, turn a vulture into a peaceful dove, make a beauty out of the beast, and for sure that won't be the least. Girls endure sexual assault. Society says that it's her fault. I would find a solution so no one else gets raped, provide them an easier way to escape. I want personality to be the first thing you see, not their looks or their college degree. Allow different races to move on from their stereotypes. Stop judging everyone based on their body types. Improve work opportunities for the poor. Maybe one of them can find a cure. And I cannot stress the need of security for the children surrounded by the military. Let's not forget the environment. Pollution is a problem that's very urgent. We need to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We need to make sure that the teens are less suicidal. Maybe we need to lessen the stress on them. Maybe that will lead to a different outcome. We're all connected, and not just because of biology. In spite of being humans, there is another analogy. We all seek strength and support, so let's try to get everyone on board. Surround yourself by people that will let you grow, even if the process is slow. Even if these thoughts are strange, they'll allow us to finally make a change.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Shimiro, and I'm presenting to you today a narrative text. I never thought I would be able to share this. I never thought I would ever have the guts to come up here and tell you what happened. But I've gained courage, and now I'm here. It all started, it was a school day, like every other day. I was walking in the hallways when I saw a kid called Carlton being insulted by my best friend Will, and I did not step up to defend him. I just simply ignored it. This went on for the next 2 weeks. By the third week, things got different. There was more pushing, there was more hitting, and And yet, I refused to acknowledge the problem. Excuses kept running in my head to justify what I had been seeing and the reason why I wasn't doing anything. Now, by the 4th week, things got different. Things got severe. And I started wondering what that kid Carlton had done to deserve all the things that Will was putting him through. Luckily for me, that same week, Carlton visited a friend of his and came onto my bus. When I saw that kid's eyes, I could see the pain. I could see the struggle that he was enduring at school. I could see that he was finally being free, being happy, knowing Will's presence wasn't there. Once again, I had a chance to go and talk to him and find out the truth. What was the situation? So I wasted my chance to go and find out the truth. Now, maybe if I told someone, everything would have changed. Maybe if I told someone, what happened next wouldn't have happened. But all I was saying was maybe this, maybe that. But that was no good since I was taking no action. One day, I just decided to step up. Jonathan, you got to do something. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. It was at the end of the year when it happened. When reality came crashing down on me. With just a blink of an eye, Carlton was gone. Carlton committed suicide. And I knew the reason why. I just never came forward. I knew the reason why he had committed it. He didn't feel like he didn't feel like anyone cared for him, loved him enough to help him. And the obvious bully in the story is Will. No questions to ask. But there wasn't just one bully in the story. We're all bullies. We're all bullies when we stay back and don't defend each other. We're all bullies when we watch someone get hurt and not do anything. We're all bullies when we stand in the sidelines. We're all bullies when we see something wrong and know what to do, but just simply don't do it because the people are looking at us. All I wish for is for him to rest in peace. Because now all I do is reminisce on how I had no guts to take one risk. I will always regret this. I blame myself for being a bully.
Hi, my name is Greg Price, and I will be presenting a persuasive speech. I'm so tired today. I'm sure you've all heard that before. Sleep deprivation is an actual health crisis among adolescents, and the main reason behind this is school. I know what you're thinking. Well, couldn't you just go to bed a little bit earlier? The answer to that question is yes, but our teenage bodies are not programmed to go to bed and to wake up early. In fact, after puberty, teens will have trouble falling asleep before 11. It's a biological shift in our body's internal clocks, and we now need 9.5 hours of sleep every night. Therefore, we lack on average 2.5 hours of sleep every school night. Health, short-term effect of sleep deprivation, fatigue, moodiness, and loss of focus. How about some long-term ones? Heart disease, diabetes, and yes, death. Type 2 diabetes. And this cycle makes us even more prone to other diseases and disorders. Heart disease. The lack of sleep causes an elevation in blood pressure. So guess what? Blood clot. That's what happens. Now, death. I can promise you this. If you get 8 hours of sleep every night for the rest of your life rather than just 7, you will live longer. And studies suggest that there's an increased likelihood of becoming addicted to most drugs while we are deprived of sleep. How are we supposed to succeed if we are not giving 100% because we lack rest? Now, why should school change? Well, it's very simple. Because it's hurting our education, and teenagers are unable to change our own habits or breaking habits. First thing we would need to do would be to wake up every day, 7 days a week at the same time. I think it's safe to say most teenagers will not be willing to wake up at 7:30 in the morning on a weekend if they do not have to. Now, blue light. Blue light tricks our brain into thinking it's daytime, making it extremely hard to fall asleep. Let's raise hands here and see how many of us used a screening device before bed last night, an hour before bed last night. That's a lot of us. That includes TVs, phones, and tablets. To fall asleep at 11 p.m., everyone here would not be able to use a screening device an hour before bed, so that means at 10. Now, in class, sleep deprivation is causing a lack of focus, which leads us to not paying attention, and if we don't pay attention, we don't succeed. Schools say they're doing all they can to help us succeed, yet they do this. Or we could try breaking all of our habits, but like I said, that would be nearly impossible. Currently, our situation is not good. It's unnatural, it's unhealthy, and it's negatively affecting our learning. And it's not like information is new. Should we not be doing whatever it takes to succeed? Thank you.
Let's get this done. How's it going? My name is Matt Bell, and this is a free verse poem. Love is a drug. Don't believe me? Just look at all the songs. You give love a bad name. I need your love. Find your love. The list goes on and on. The things that these songs all have in common is that love is gone. And that's the only way we think of love, is it leaving. The songs are all about the pain of lost love, and it's true. Love sucks. And like any other good thing out there, sometimes it ends. It leaves you sitting in the driver's seat of your car with that one song on the radio that reminds you of her, and the tears fall down your face one after one. Nothing can stop them. Every time that song comes on, the tears have long since dried up, but that feeling I felt when she looked at me, I'll always remember that feeling. When she pulled me in close, I'll always remember that feeling, but one day, one fateful day, it disappeared. The looks were gone, I was being pushed away, but apparently she pulled him in real close. Now I know at this point I sound like a broken record, but I'm just trying to keep everything above board, that love is a dangerous drug that is constantly interfering in things. Now I'm not saying that all forms are lethal, it's just after a while you run out of patience, you're tired of being a patient at Heartbreak Hotel. That's why I'm here seeking closure. Because the one thing they tell you about love is that you get over it. They always say that, but they never say how. How do I find closure? Is it at the bottom of a bottle, or is it with that blonde at the bar? If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time, and I would say to myself, listen up, kid, you're gonna get your heart broke, she's gonna shatter it too, but after that time, you gotta think of you. Because by the end of this, you'll have learned the one most important lesson in life. Don't take the drug if you aren't ready for the come down. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Priska, and I will be doing a spoken word. My religion was something I had to believe in. From the beginning of time, from the beginning of my time, whether or not I understood it. Dressed in all white at the mere age of, I don't understand anything, things were decided for me. As my head soaked in the holy water, my brain cleansed out. In the name of the Lord, I declare this child a member of the Catholic Church, and is engaged to be his faithful servant. His faithful servant. To be considered a part of a brotherhood, an alliance, a society, a union of bodies linked by common interest. Him. Whether or not I understood my religion, my perception of the world was but only a replica of my parents' beliefs. Realistically, I've never met the guy. I never heard his ethereal voice in my sleep guide me. I just haven't met him yet, but I guess I get that yet implies time that is still to come. My time will come. Guide me. Find me. This Sunday, my faith, like sand through the hourglass, will seep in between that thin line of skepticism. One sand grain at a time, one God hates gays at a time, one God is against abortion at a time. But wasn't the Bible written at a time, a long time ago? After all, I have given my confirmation to my church. A pinky promise, across my heart and hope to die. They say a confirmation is a sacrament in which the Holy Ghost comes to you, aiding you to profess your faith. I've been walking the same way, in the same way, waiting for him. I want to carry his words the same way us teens carry gossip so preciously. I want to speak with the same conviction as my pastor, convincing. I want to taste the body and the blood. I don't just want to see bread and wine, God. I want to consider my coincidences as blessings. I want to be edified. Make me holy. Good God, let me give you my life. My religion was something I had to believe in. From the beginning of time, from the beginning of my time, whether or not I understood it like expected, it shaped me, my beliefs. It taught me how to live, love, and don't get me wrong, I learned to love my God, but he left me so conflicted. Thank you.
This is kind of tough. Okay. My name is Joan Edward Williams, and I'll be performing a spoken word. Dear Carl, I know if my mom were to hear this, she'd want me to call you Dad. But how do you pronounce a sound that some days I can't even get past my front teeth? I just looked out my window and realized it's raining. Thought maybe God doesn't want me to be the only one in tears. It pains me to admit this, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to get this off my chest, put my demons to rest, and officially pronounce this rage I have for you dead. So I'll bite this bullet and confess every thought I've ever had since the day you left. 1, I still remember your face. I just sketch it in my brain sometimes so that it won't get erased, so that when my kids ask me about their grandfather, I'll know what to say. I still remember the scar that ran up and down your cheek like you had just gone out of battle. I used to cling to the fantasy that you were secretly a warrior, so that when your leather strap struck my skin like a bomb and you got into late night arguments with Mom, I could still pretend that you would fight to protect us. It took me a while to realize, long after you'd gone out the door, that you weren't a soldier. You were the war. 2, I often think about the day you left. That morning, I swear my older brother was about to catch a case. You and him fought so loud I couldn't hear my own heart break. And that night I swore I'd never trust my family again. I mean, could I really put faith in people who expected me to forget the man responsible for the blood in my veins, made up half of my DNA, who I catch glimpses of in my own face? 3, the damage you've caused seems beyond repair. I think even the doctors put a Band-Aid on this gunshot wound, ripped it off too soon, and told us to seek our own medication. And so we swallowed it whole and hoped and prayed that it would go away. You can see it in my little brother when he breaks down and he gets angry and he kicks and he shouts and he just wants to be a man, but no one's been around to show him how. You can see it in my mother as well. I sometimes hear the skeletons in her closet get up and run around her bed, make their way into her head and tell her she doesn't deserve any better. 4, I often feel guilty when now and then I think and wish I could just go back to a time where I could look up at you and say I love you with a confidence I now lack. And even though I don't recall you ever saying it back, it doesn't matter because at least then I could call you my dad. But you grow a hole in your soul when you live in the past. I look outside my window and realize the skies have cleared and my tears have dried. The only piece of advice you ever gave me was to never cry over some guy, and so I will stand here with nothing left to lose and finally decide to start with you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anne-Clara, and I will be presenting a spoken word poem. The first time the words eating disorder made their way into my ears was in my 8th grade English class. We were given a presentation which compared Holocaust survivors to models in the modern world fashion industry. Afterwards, I found myself wondering who would ever want to look like that. I did not notice that in my home I was being bombarded on social media with images of beautiful women who seemed to live great lives but lacked cellulite and stretch marks. I lived in a world obsessed with The Biggest Loser and instant diets around me. Billboards advertised that I could lose weight quickly now. The society in which I was brought up constantly awaited the arrival of a new diet pill that would allow people around me to be fit and sexy, as if this were more important than finding a cure for cancer. As a young teenager, all of these negative messages about the way that I should view my own body made me feel like I was on a merry-go-round spinning a little too fast. The first time I starved myself was between the 4 walls of my school cafeteria. This eventually became an everyday occurrence, and by age 14, I was eating an apple a day because that's how you keep the doctor away at the dinner table. I pushed my plate away, pretending to have eaten a lot previously that day, just as my stomach growled, filled with nothing but remorse. I sipped vodka in the back of class to numb the aches in my body, which reached from fingertips to toes, from skin to bone. I measured my own self-worth with the number on the scale and the size of the gap between my thighs. 1 pound soon became 5, 10, and 20. I was a walking skeleton, but not the funny kind you see on TV. The first time I stuck a toothbrush down the back of my throat in the hopes of regurgitating what little content was left in my stomach, I bruised my vocal cords and couldn't talk for a few days. The first time I came to school with a scar on my arm, I reassured everyone it was from a curling iron and not from the pressure I had put on myself to lose a little more weight, which had driven me to dig my nails into my skin. In the 10th grade, I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. Eating disorders are known to kill more than any other mental illness. They have a saying at the hospital, if you're not recovering, honey, you're dying. For the pounds you fight so hard to lose are not fat, but bone, muscle, and organ mass. The first time my will to live outshone my will to die, I was able to accept my illness. The first time I realized fat was not an emotion, I was able to truly begin my recovery. The first time I saw my body as worthy, I was able to overlook the society that made me feel ugly. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marie-Rose, and I'm doing a spoken word poem. There is one certainty in life, and everyone looks at it differently. Whether it's the start of something new, the beginning of the end, or just simply the end. I am graduating high school. I am becoming an adult. And I'm about to be thrown into a world that has hatred and judgment as the two easiest things to fall into. Because it is easy to fall into hate, easy to fall into judgment, but it takes strength to walk your own path. I am choosing to walk into this world with my hands outstretched, thinking that I can do anything and everything, with naivety in my eyes, but at some point my hands will start to close, covered in battle scars, and they will never reopen. A passerby will hang it closed, sorry for the inconvenience sign, and keep on his way, looking for the next person to try and try and try and try to save. I will start looking at life through an hourglass, waiting, thinking, wondering, when will it come? When will be my time? When will I forget everything? When will I be the next victim? Every grain of sand that falls disappears into the mountain like the fresh breath of air of a new person, person losing their shininess minute by minute, slowly until they become a black and white scale of, let's try and change the world, to, I can't even change myself. I will form a shield of everything that's ever hurt me, everything that's ever made me stronger, because life is an uphill climb of a road that you think you have time to finish, like climbing Mount Everest in shorts. Because yellow brick roads leading directly to your destination don't actually exist. The only thing that does is a path to success paved with failures and detours. Life is a four-letter word that people say, wanting it to mean a lot more than it actually does. Life only means something if you put something behind it. Life is like a blank page. You have to take a chance and write something, or you're going to be remembered by 2 dates. But what's really important is the hyphen in between. Life is a game, and love, joy, and freedom are the prizes. Thing is, I know to take it slow, just as fast as I can. Nothing can take me down because I am a warrior, because I know that I am worth it. Trouble is people. People who assume that tomorrow's always coming down the line, taking for granted that our days will never end. Our days are limited like the pages in a book. Eventually run out, the story is over. Starting over isn't an option because you're remembered from day one. And you know every spoiler before it happens. Trouble is, life's preferred choice of weapon is a slow, antagonizing torture like drops of water falling from the ceiling to a bucket during an interrogation. Life pretends to hand you lemons, but they actually prefer throwing them, which wouldn't be so bad if they didn't keep forgetting the vodka. Life knows it can only be held together by tape and glue for so long. Life doesn't give out second chances. Life knows that you can't run away from your problems. Sometimes the ones you love the most hurt you the most. Be brave, be fearless. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, then you're propelled into the future, wondering where all that time went. People look for hope like they're playing Marco Polo. Hope gets me through the tough times. Hope checks to see if I'm still breathing. Hope checks to see if I'm still fighting. Atlas held up the weight of the world. I hold up the weight of hope.
All right, let's give them a good round of applause. Next year we'll be sponsored by Kleenex tissues, in case you guys, there's probably some at the back there, some in case you guys need some. That's the end of our Speech Mavens presentation. Our judges are tabulating everything right now. The way we do it, because we are on a budget, so we only have a first place winner. We don't necessarily have like a second or a third or a fourth place runner, or runners up and such. So whoever won first place per grade wins a $25 gift card to Bayshore. All the others get a $5 gift card to Tim Hortons, because we like our students well caffeinated. Let's give a round of applause as well for the English staff here at Franco West. And administration at the back for letting us do this thing in a French school. Thank you. So we'll start with the 7, 8, 9, 10 winners, which I do have. For the grade 7s, we have Emma Vachon Crosby, if she can come out to the front. Welcome, you can stand over here. For the grade 8s, we have Dylan Stengel. Come on out. For the grade 9s, we have Carolina Moo. And for the grade 10s, Daphne Dillman. For the grade 11s and 12s now, which I do have, thank you for the judges, Maya Sabine, correct? And for the grade 12s, Priska and Mukula. I'll move this over so you guys take pictures and stuff. There you go. Round of applause. Well done, guys. I'll give you guys your prizes right now. She gave me a beautiful bag for these little things. So. No problem. Thank you. And thank you also for participating, because a lot of our kids are like, nope, not doing it in front of the parents, never doing it. So thank you again for participating, and thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. Well done. You're good. Thank you guys.